through drip irrigation. That's just one example in St. Elizabeth that we've been expanding with some of our local partners in the farming community.
Thank you so much. That's a good answer to that question. That's all the time we have, viewers. You know, I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for speaking with us, Dr. Kishan Kade.
Pleasure. Thanks.
He's a resident representative for the UNDP right here in Jamaica. And that's how we close Lead Story this evening. I'm Sondre Roden. Up next is the news at 7.
See, when I wake up in the morning, I say a word of prayer. Tap, 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 tap. Yo, this is yours truly, D Major, and I'm representing for CVM. See it happen. You hear that? CVM what? See it happen. Listen, keep it locked.
Thanks so much for joining us for CVM News Afternoon for Wednesday, July 16, 2025. I'm Curlin Brown. Jamaicans are being urged to prepare for a prolonged dry season as the island continues to experience reduced rainfall and drought-like conditions. The situation has already started to affect water systems and supplies across several parishes, prompting concerns from national agencies represented as a special press briefing at Jamaica House earlier today. Acting President of the National Water Commission, the NWC, Garth Jackson, in acknowledging the growing strain on the country's water infrastructure, explains the agency is actively exploring ways to increase storage capacity and improve water distribution, especially in vulnerable communities.
About 44 of our systems, we have about 450 systems we operate island-wide, and about 44 of those have been affected in some way by the dry season. 23 of those are operating probably just below 50% capacity, but the rest of them are above that, and all others. Now, you'll see from the slide that the eastern parishes, and this is consistent with what both Evan and Peter pointed out, eastern parishes have about 40 systems which are affected by the dry season, whereas the western parishes have just about 3 which are affected. The rest of the systems, Hanover, Westmoreland, Manchester, all are operating largely at capacity currently. So those are all.
Meanwhile, Principal Director of the Meteorological Service, Evan Thompson, warns the current weather pattern is expected to persist. He emphasizes the lack of significant rainfall will continue to disrupt normal water supply operations.
Period, July, August, and September. As we move to the lower image, with October going through December, that's when we do expect to see a change. As you know, traditionally, we would have an increase in wetness or rainfall as we go through October, one of our primary rainfall season that prepares us for going into the next dry season. So we are expecting that we will have some amount of rainfall, that it will change the picture somewhat, but that is as we go toward the end of 2025. So that's.
And speaking of rain, residents in Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland are calling on the government to urgently clean drains and gullies in and around the township following a major flooding on Tuesday afternoon. The floodwaters came after several hours of heavy rainfall, which reportedly left sections of the town underwater and brought business operations to a halt. It's alleged several residents and business owners suffered damage to property, vehicles, furniture and equipment. Commuters and motorists were also left stranded as floodwaters covered roadways and surrounding areas. Many believe had the drains and gullies been properly maintained, much of the flooding could have been avoided. Now, the residents are hoping for swift government action before another round of rain triggers a repeat of Tuesday's chaos. I beg your pardon. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, the JUTC, is set to receive a major boost to its fleet's transportation. I'm sorry, we'll have to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Equipment, the new name in forklift sales and rentals in Jamaica. Top quality, low prices, fleet discounts available, 12-month warranty, free service parts, daily rentals, crazy cheap. Ashman's Equipment, same forklift, better deals.
My name is Dahoni Adlam. I am 35 years of age.
I'm Ruby Smith. I'm 83 years of age. The house, what I really been into, it wasn't wholesome.
My house got burned down. It was terrible. I lost everything in the fire.
I sleep so happy.
I'm happy that I have somewhere again. The new social housing program, I am happy because it gives me a second chance and others as well.
The government, through the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, is building hope, one home at a time.
From politics to global events, from social issues to breaking news, Lead Story Prime dives deeper, cuts through the noise, and uncovers the stories that shape your world. Join us every Tuesday at 8 p.m. for Lead Story Prime with me, George Davis, for an hour of incisive analysis, expert interviews, and unparalleled coverage of the issues you care about. Lead Story Prime, your front row seat to the most compelling discussions. Lead Story Prime, where the truth comes first. Only on CVM TV.
Welcome back, Severa. Thank you for understanding. We do apologize. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, the JUTC, is set to receive a major boost to its fleet. Transportation Minister Darrell Vaz is currently at the Portmore Bus Depot in St. Catherine, handing over 93 new buses to the state-run bus company. The additional units are expected to improve service reliability, reduce wait times, and enhance commuting experience for thousands of Jamaicans who rely on the JUTC daily. The minister says in 2024, 100 buses were deployed across the Kingston Metropolitan Transport Region, which enhanced service delivery for the company. The handover forms part of the government's ongoing efforts to modernize and expand public transportation across the corporate area and surrounding communities. CVM will have more later on in news at 7. The country's healthcare system is once again in the spotlight, this time under the theme of global population trends. At the launch of the United Nations Population Fund State of the World Population Report 2025, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton sounded the alarm on the worsening state of the country's healthcare workforce. Our reporter is Akeem Aret.
A near healthcare crisis is looming. That's the warning from Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, who says the sector is under significant strain, due in part to workforce shortages.
Health right now is bordering in some areas on a crisis in terms of healthcare workers. And this is not unique to Jamaica, just to be clear. It's a global thing. In fact, the projections suggest that we need some 20 million or so healthcare workers between now and 2030.
The situation is made worse by the steady migration of nurses and other critical staff seeking better opportunities, leaving the public system in demand.
500 or so of our specialist nurses migrate each year on average, leaving our neonatal units intensive care units, operating theater units, accident and emergency units in very short supply and impacting the quality of service delivery by virtue of not having enough bodies and enough boots on the ground.
Experts say with a growing and aging population and an increase in non-communicable diseases, the healthcare system must rapidly adapt. However, Minister Tufton says the availability of resources is another challenge.
Even if we wanted to train more, we're restricted by virtue of clinical rotation space, meaning operating theater beds to practice around. There's a ratio of student to beds, and by faculty, or the shortage of faculty, people to train.
However, Minister Tufton says as the government works to craft solutions, the call is now for more healthcare workers. Hakeem Aret, CVM News.
And CVM News Afternoon will continue right after this.
Let's delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orville Higgins and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's a live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yes.
Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central.
This July, the world turns to Jamaica
for the Caribbean Investment Forum, the region's premier investment event.
From July 29 to 31, the Montego Bay Convention Center comes alive
with global thought leaders, exclusive investment opportunities, high-impact deal-making sessions.
Are you ready to invest in the Caribbean's future? Book now at CaribbeanInvestmentForum.com.
Let's shape a smart, green, connected Caribbean. July 29 to 31, Montego Bay. Powered by Caribbean Export, Government of Jamaica, Jampro, EU, CARICOM, Republic Bank, and IDB.
Are you ready for something mega? Mega Mart's giving away a brand new 2025 Hyundai Tucson. Second prize, a mega shopping spree. Third prize, 30,000 monthly shopping spree. Okay, break it down for them.
Spend $6,500 or more before GCT. Fill out the entry form on your receipt. Drop it in the box. That's it.
Authorized under Section 53.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, few constituencies capture the nation's attention quite like St. Catherine East Central. Though still in its adolescence, this Portmore-based seat has quickly become a microcosm of the shifts taking place in that section of the parish that was in the past dominated by the People's National Party, the PNP. As the 2025 general election looms, the constituency is once again preparing for a high-stakes contest, one that pits a two-term incumbent against a familiar challenger.
St. Catherine East Central stands as one of Jamaica's youngest constituencies, born from the redistricting efforts that preceded the 2011 general election. This constituency is both politically significant and demographically dynamic, home of the ever-evolving communities of Gregory Park, Southborough, and Portmore Pines. In its first contest, the People's National Party PNP secured an early advantage. Arnaldo Brown, an attorney-at-law, triumphed over the Jamaica Labour Party GLP's Suzette Buchanan, eking out a narrow 558-vote majority. But the political winds would not remain still. By 2016, the tide turned. Brown, seeking a second term, was unseated by another member of the legal fraternity, Orlando Terrelong, the GLP's standard bearer. The margin of victory was tight, just 494 votes. Then came 2020, with the PNP fielding Raymond Price, a former MP for St. Elizabeth Northeastern. Hopes were high for a resurgence, but Terrelong, now an established figure on the national stage, delivered a blow. He won by a commanding 2,002 votes, not only retaining his seat, but sweeping all three divisions in the constituency, Gregory Park, Southborough and Portmore Pines. It was a stark contrast to the 2016 contest, when Portmore Pines had been hotly contested and Southborough remained competitive. The local government elections of 2024 offered another glimpse into the pulse of the constituency. While the GLP emerged ahead overall, the contest was razor thin in Southborough, separated by a mere 4 votes. Gregory Park remained a GLP stronghold, while the PNP showed moderate strength in Portmore Pines. As the 2025 election approaches, all eyes once again turn to St. Catherine East Central. Terry Long is poised to seek a third term, banking on his incumbency and visible community engagement. Across the aisle, Raymond Price, who has not sat in Gordon House since his tenure, representing St. Elizabeth Northeastern, aims for a political comeback. In this young seat, every vote is a narrative, and every election adds a new chapter to its unfolding story. Andre Jebinson, CVM News.
We'll be right back. Stay where you are.
Attention registered voters! Remember to collect your renewed voter ID card before the upcoming general election. If you registered to vote in 2016 or after and did not get your new ID card, it may have been automatically renewed. Simply visit your EOJ constituency office to collect your voter ID card. Contact the Electoral Office of Jamaica at 888-991-VOTE or 922-0425-9 for more information.
The time by Subaru is 12:15. Hey Jerry, what's up?
I really think you should look into adding Island Next Unlimited Internet as a reliable backup for your home and office. We can come over and we'll talk more.
How fast can you get?
That fast.
But how fast is Island Next broadband? Fast enough people business fast?
Nope.
Fast enough prayer fast?
Nope.
How about fiber fast?
But not that kind of fiber. They use fast broadband to provide reliability.
Experience the lightning fast wireless broadband and reliable business service.
Welcome back. Now, with the anticipation of the Reggae Sumfest this year, thousands are pouring into Montego Bay. But where they stay is changing. The rise of Airbnb has brought new options to the tourism landscape, and with it, new questions. Raymond Morrison sought some answers.
Whether it's a cozy studio tucked into a local neighborhood or a seafront suite at a luxury hotel, the choice of accommodation for Sumfest visitors has never been wider. In a statement shared with CVM News, President of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, Christopher Jarrett, says the association welcomes Airbnb properties into the mix. He notes that a little competition is healthy and that some travelers will always favor cost-effective options. Jarrett also added that while Airbnb hosts often operate with lower overheads and fewer taxes, hotels continue to provide structure and consistency that some guests prefer. And for travel operators, the shift is palpable.
I believe affordability remains a key driver behind the growing popularity of Airbnb accommodations in Jamaica, especially during major events like Reggae Sumfest. However, I believe too that this trend really gained momentum during the COVID-19 pandemic, when travelers began prioritizing privacy and social distancing. For travelers back then, remember, booking a private home offered not only peace of mind, but also greater value for money. Don't get me wrong, hotels remain a wonderful option, particularly for honeymooners and families. Many travelers are now looking for a more authentic Jamaican experience. At Sea Salt Travel, we specialize in luxury villas, all-inclusive resorts, and high-quality Airbnb stays. With Reggae Sumfest drawing both returning and first-time visitors, we've seen a significant increase in demand for Airbnb options, like a significant increase. Travelers want convenience, they want comfort and culture richness at a reasonable price, and Airbnbs delivers just that.
Major players in the hotel industry, including Secrets Montego Bay, who is a sponsor of the event, declined to speak on the issue, but many continue to adapt with flexible rates and targeted packages, hoping to hold their share of the market as accommodation dynamics shift. As Sumfest continues to draw crowds from across the globe, the question remains: Airbnb or hotel? While both options have their advantages, stakeholders agree that ultimately choice drives growth. Raymond Morrison, CVM News.
Overseas we go. The Syrian Ministry of Defense has announced a ceasefire in the Druze majority city of Sueda, saying an agreement has been reached with the city's notables and dignitaries after days of deadly clashes with Bedouin tribes. Meanwhile, Israel launched air attacks on Sueda on Tuesday after Syrian government forces entered Druze city. Israel had pledged to protect Syria's Druze minority, which it sees as potential allies.
Fighting in the early hours of Tuesday between Syrian government forces and armed groups they call outlaws. More than 30 people have been killed and over 100 wounded in the fighting over the past few days. Armed groups from the Druze and Sunni Bedouin tribes began fighting on Friday. Abductions and attacks by both sides prompted the government to send reinforcements to defuse the situation. But there was an ambush